Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to the Manny Diaz Show. Joe Zagacki, Don Bailey Jr., University of Miami head coach Manny Diaz. Thanksgiving week, and the Hurricanes will be on the road against the Duke Blue Devils, but the Canes are coming off a great win against Virginia Tech at home at Hard Rock Stadium. Coach, congratulations on that one. It was a rainy one. Mother Nature threw a temper tantrum at us, but your team handled it.
Yeah, so much for 16% chance of rain on the Weather Channel. So we always have one monsoon game. Sometimes it's for a quarter. This one, it was kind of the whole night, and but both teams had to persevere through some difficult field conditions. And I'm obviously happy the way that our guys gutted it out.
Coach, let's go back to the field conditions, because now that there's an indoor practice facility, we don't get to spend a lot of time out in the rain. But overall, you handled the football, no giveaways in that environment. Tyler Van Dyke with some great throws, long throws that really take a lot out of a quarterback on a wet ball, but really an outstanding performance for the conditions.
Yeah, you would actually really say both sides. I mean, they made some fantastic catches too. It wasn't the normal slop fest you see when it's wet and balls, skidding around all over the place. But turnovers is the key. When we don't turn it over, we're really hard to stop on offense. And another game with no turnovers, and that's kind of step one in our plan to win.
Van Dyke did it again. Receives co-rookie of the week honors inside the ACC, but 300-yard passing game, 5 of them now in a row. 300-yard passing game against a team that did not give up 300 passing yards all year.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Virginia Tech, they throw a bunch of different coverages at you, and he went right to work on number 2, who's really their best corner, and that guy had a tough day because Rambo was giving him fits, and think about it, we had the one called back to Mallory. Otherwise Tyler would have thrown for 400 yards. So, guy just does it every week, and I think Rhett Lashley's done a phenomenal job of preparing him and play calling, and obviously what you're seeing now is our offense with all of our weapons, really coming in. You've got Brashard Smith out of the backfield, you got Mallory making plays. You have so many different guys that a defense has to worry about. It becomes very difficult on them.
Coach, I would bring it up, 0 sacks. That's pretty impressive no matter what the competition and no matter what the environment, but a heck of a day for the offensive line.
Yeah, they have a defensive end that's a Senior Bowl invite, and as to your point, Tyler had a clean pocket to throw, and a couple times, had to scurry out of there and throw it away, but for the most part, very, very clean, and had an opportunity to really attack them down the field, which people hadn't really had a chance to do to them.
Now, along those lines, they had a great pass rusher in Barno, and it occurred to me, man, we're in the fourth quarter. I don't think I've called his name yet. Now, he didn't make a play late in the game, but did a good job on their edge guys.
Yeah, and that was a key matchup in the game. I think the offensive line is, as we mentioned, they've done a nice job every week. And I think that's the part, we keep talking about everybody around the quarterback playing better, and that helps the quarterback play his best.
Coach, Mike Harley tipping his way up to be the number 1 guy for total receptions, and I hope that he can get that over the next 2 ball games. But it was nice to see him get that 55-yarder at home on Senior Day.
Wasn't that great? What a phenomenal moment for him. One that he'll never forget. Beautiful throw by Tyler. Tyler's got a bunch this year, but that one might be the top of the class. Caught him in a Tampa 2, and the middle linebacker's got to be responsible for the deep middle of the field, and that's a bad matchup with him and Harley. But that's why protection really comes down. Tyler to buy a little bit extra time and throw it over the other safety's head, and great throw and catch, great route by Mike.
His throws, I think he had more guys in stride the other night than I've ever recall a quarterback. I felt like I was calling every time. Hit him in stride, hit him in stride, hit him in stride.
Yeah, and I think that's just, we've got great timing in our offense, and when you're confident, you can let it rip and throw it out there and let your guys run under it, and I think that's what he's feeling right now.
Coach, I don't want to miss the point, but we're talking about the game, but you won the football game, you're going to a bowl, and it was nice to hear that you're bowl eligible, but Mike Harley in our post-game show said, I'm playing in this bowl game. He's excited about adding on another game.
Yeah, I think that's what is special about this senior class, and I think that's what Saturday was a celebration of. You saw the reaction after the game. I'll be honest, that wasn't about necessarily beating Virginia Tech. That wasn't necessarily about win number 6 or whatever. It was really just about a celebration of who these guys are, what they've been through, and the way that our seniors have kept us together. Because, those are the ones, to your point, at the end of the year, they could go a different way, they could think selfishly, and that there's a lot of incentive to do that nowadays. And they went the other way, and they really kept this football team together in the last 7 days. And the way that we started that looked like a football team that was highly, highly motivated. And that didn't come from our younger guys. They were, but they followed the lead of our older guys. And our older guys, they deserved the celebration afterwards.
There are some trends that have also popped up the last couple of weeks. Over 400 yards total offense in 4 of the last 6 games. Red zone touchdowns, 12 touchdowns in the last 18 trips inside the red zone. Third down percentage also on offense as well on defense. Those numbers have reversed themselves.
Yeah, we are getting better on possession downs. I think we converted 3 third and 10s in this game. So not just even the layups where we're making some tough things happen. I think the second TD drive we converted 2 third and 10s. So those are big, and it's about being best in our critical situations. And the most critical situation on Saturday was the fourth quarter. It was a 5-point game. Give them credit; they came back. There's a surprise onside kick, and we had to respond. And the defense went out there, held them to 19 yards in the fourth quarter of the last 3 drives. We played our best when our best was required.
Coach, you kind of threw us off a little bit. We looked out there. We see number 82 at tight end.
Yeah.
We weren't aware of that. Justice Oluwaseun comes in, and I was watching a bunch of his series. He has helped big time going in as a power tight end or a blocking tight end.
We got to stop on defense with 6.5 minutes left in the game and didn't play another snap on D. I mean, the offense ran the clock out, and we had struggled to run the football over the first 3.5 quarters of the game. That's dominating, and I know all the offense as an exit offensive lineman. That's the moments you cherish because Thad Franklin went in there and he was powering the ball through, and we did put an extra offensive lineman in the game and just grinding out yards, and just sort of collapsing that whole side of the Virginia Tech defensive line, and converted a couple third downs, converted a 3rd and 1 and a 3rd and 10 on that drive that ultimately allowed us to take a knee.
Thad Franklin looked like a 6-minute back, right?
Yes.
And that's what a 6-minute or 4-minute back is supposed to look like. And I thought we saw the confidence. Maybe we saw the kid that you would recruited in high school.
I think so, yeah. And as a defensive player, you've been chasing around Knighton and trying to get after Van Dyke and chasing around all these wideouts and Mallory all day. And now what happens? Now all of a sudden, you put an extra offensive lineman in the game, and here comes, a big tailback, strong guy like Thad. Oh man, and it looked, and I thought the more the drive went on, the more we were able to wear on them, and you start to see the fight sort of come out of some of their guys.
Coach, talk to us about the game plan of Virginia Tech and how you had to manage that. Joe and I are, of course, calling the game, and it's quarterback run, quarterback run, quarterback run. Switch the quarterback run, quarterback.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was really their game plan. Was that those 2 guys were going to run the football to win the game?
Yeah, they had 43 run attempts, and 30 of them, I think, were just design quarterback runs. And that took us a bit. It had probably been, in a normal Virginia Tech game, it'd be 43 runs and 30 runs to the tailback. So it was a very different. They have really talented tailbacks. They only had a couple carries, and whether that was a sign of respect, they didn't think they could get those guys going, or, obviously when you run the quarterback, you create an extra blocker. There's an extra gap that's created because the tailback now becomes a blocker. And they've got big athletic guys at quarterback that can run and go forward. So it took us a while to kind of adjust to that. I think that we did better in the second half, certainly better in the fourth quarter to take that away. But yeah, you never know what team's going to do. Late in the year, obviously they had a change up in their staff, and you have to be able to adjust to those type of situations.
I mentioned this a little bit earlier. You took away their third down efficiency. They were 5 for 14 on third downs. You got NC State to 3 for 14. Florida State was 3 for 15 on third down. So that's been an area of emphasis for you.
Yeah, the heartbreaker was, you mentioned they converted 5. 3 of them were in the red zone. Right. They scored touchdowns on 3 in the red zone on plays that really we had practiced all week. So very close to a dominant performance. I mean, only 2 third down conversions out in the big field. But those ones in the red zone are worth points, and we talked about that as a defensive meeting. We said those are 12 points. I mean, those are, a third down in the red zone is a 4-point play. The difference between 3 and 7, so the chance to, take 12 points off their scoreboard and suddenly a 12-point win becomes a 24-point win, and it's a lot more comfortable late in the game. So these are the steps that we're taking defensively to get that point from getting out of being just, good or to being dominant.
Coach, the injury list just keeps getting longer and longer, and more challenging, I'm sure. You have James Williams out; it's not going to be available for the ball game on Saturday. But then you have to put Amari Carter back at safety, and he ended up never missing a beat.
Yeah, thank God we had him. you're right. I mean, we're really, really thin in the secondary. Tyreek Stevenson was limited on Saturday, and we hope to have him going forward. But it makes it tough, and tough on 1st and 10. But certainly when you go to 3rd down, you want to put 6 defensive backs on the field. You're really, really having a hard time doing that. So, got to credit T-Rob and DVD. They're pushing guys through. They're trying to speed up the development of some of these younger guys to get them ready. But again, proud of Amari, but Cam Kitchens, Avante Williams, they held their own back there. We don't even remember the fact that they're still true freshmen, but we're going to need them here coming down the stretch.
Before we go to the break, one last question. Again, it's probably my weekly question on Rambo, but again, he makes some sensational plays right off the bat. You come out with a pass-heavy attack, which was really cool, and he's looking up into the rain and makes the play there. And again, he's a few catches away from having more catches in 1 year than he had in his entire career at Oklahoma.
Yeah, and I think that's one. He's been phenomenal all year. And the first play of the game, you go right after their best corner, bang, explosive play. That makes a statement. Two, I think it shows in this offense what we can do in this offense, and I think we have a chance going forward for guys to put up really, really big numbers at the wide receiver position, whether it's in 1 year like Rambo's done with catches and yards, over a career like what Mike Harley's done. But it's our goal going forward to just attack the record books here at the University of Miami. There's some special names on there, but with what we've got going on now, and it's a different era, which we're aware of, but this should be the new thing here at UM, and whether it's young guys taking Rambo's spot next year, new recruits coming in, we want receivers to put up big numbers here at UM.
Okay, we'll take a break. We'll come back and talk more with University of Miami head coach Manny Diaz. The Duke Blue Devils are coming up next from Wallace Wade Stadium. We'll talk about that as we continue on the Manny Diaz Show.
Hey, it's the Good Greek Spiro, and we all know that the most important part of winning a championship is getting there. And when the Miami Hurricanes need to get their equipment to each game, they call Good Greek Moving and Storage. The Miami Hurricanes trust the Good Greek, and so should you. So move like a champ and go to goodgreek.com. Good Greek Moving and Storage, the official movers of the Miami Hurricanes.
Good Greek Moving and Storage, your superhero movers.
Sure are a lot of different drivers out there, and AutoNation is here for every one of them. The 10 and 2ers, the big fellas, nothing but the besters, even rock stars. But we do way more than sell new and pre-owned vehicles. We believe in something bigger, too. For every vehicle we sell or service, we donate to Drive Out Cancer. Over $28 million so far. What drives you, drives us. AutoNation.
Welcome back to the Manny Diaz Show. Joe Zagacki and Don Bailey Jr. University of Miami head coach Manny Diaz. Canes and the Duke Blue Devils on Saturday from Wallace Wade Stadium, 12:30. It's been a roller coaster of a season, but if you win this one on Saturday, it's 5 out of the last 6. So you finish with a 5-1. We'll finish with a 5-1 mark. I would imagine that's important as well as getting the victory.
Yeah, from where we were, sitting at 2 and 4. It's been the appropriate response. I think what we're most proud of is that for all 11 games, the team has played extraordinarily hard. They've stayed together through definitely some adverse times. But I think as the lineup has settled itself through the course of the year, I think our goal is to always be playing our best ball, and I think that's happening, and we kind of fixed the turnover thing this past week, and it's important now to finish what you started, and that's what Saturday's all about. Let's finish this regular season on a good note.
Coach, you identified a couple of guys as return men in the ball game as well. George as a kickoff return, and then, his punt return, Restrepo as kickoff return, and they just, especially George, he looked as natural as he could be. You got him in the open field, he looked great.
Yeah, and we talk about complementary football. What a great way to start a game. You kick off, this is why you defer. Defense gets a 3 and out. They punt, and George makes a big return. So offense really starts around midfield, right? Bang, offense scores a touchdown. Tech gets a field goal, they kick off to us, Restrepo runs it right back out to midfield. So really the first 2 times our offense had the ball, they had a short field to attack, and bang, you're up 14-3. And that's really an offense, special teams, defense, combined complementary football effort to get started. So our players believe in our returners, and when that happens, I think about when we had KJ Osborne a couple of years ago. Those guys, they strain a little bit harder. You want them to always strain, But they're no dummies. They see who's back there with the ball, and when they know that they got a guy that usually on punt return, you got to make a guy miss. No one's going to handle their blocks the whole time covering down the field. And that's why we make such a big deal that if you do lose your guy, go find the next guy, because Jacoby can make one miss, and then we can really get explosive plays without creating penalties.
We were talking about the effort of your team, and from my perch, which is pretty far away, by the way, but from our perch, you don't see anybody dropping their head. You don't see guys pouting. You see guys accepting their roles. Taking that into consideration, you have a team that you're going to play this week that's lost 7 in a row. How do you sell that to your team one more time?
Well, what we talk about is we talk about us, and what we have found this year is that, when we protect the football, when we play with discipline and we keep our penalty number low like we did on Saturday, we don't give up explosive plays on defense, we're hard to beat no matter who we're playing. But conversely, if we do turn the ball over and if we're undisciplined and don't tackle well on defense, I mean, we can give up plays to anybody. So we have tried to keep the focus on us throughout the year. And I mean, look, what we told it, we're 1-2 the last 3 years against Duke. That's a true statement. You know what I mean? So we're not in the position from where we've been to overlook anybody. That's not how we got ourselves off the ropes back when we were 2-4, and we will respect this team and this opponent as we have everyone we played so far this year.
Coach, their running back number 21, Durant, is 1,100 plus yards. I think he's top 15 or 16 in the country in rushing.
That's right.
Nobody's heard of him in the ACC, but you watch the tape, and he's the real McCoy.
Yeah, he can run the ball, and then they've got a wideout. Bobo has got a tremendous number of catches for them as well. And look, it's just such a great year for offense in our conference. I mean, there's great wideouts everywhere. There's great quarterbacks everywhere. So sometimes some guys like that, they kind of get lost in the shuffle from some of the the other bigger names that are out there. So yeah, they've got guys that can do it. And it's going to be a great challenge and test for all 3 phases of our team.
Hayward, their linebacker, has about 1 million tackles. They always play a lot of guys in their secondary, right? Are they still a team that wants to be? Now they've struggled, but philosophically, David Cutcliffe has always been about protecting the red zone.
Sure. No, well, they're very aggressive. I mean, they're going to play a lot of different types of man coverage, but they want to be in man. They want to make everything difficult on you. And I think about when we went up there 2 years ago, and we had a hard time getting open against them. We had a hard time protecting them. We had a very hard time moving the football against them. So a year ago, we were able to create explosive plays, and we were able to put up a big number against them. So if you can't be explosive against them, it's really difficult because they try to eliminate all easy offense, by playing really tight coverage.
Coach, last week we talked about a few minutes ago, you played 2 quarterbacks. There's a chance you'll see 3 this week. They seem to be rotating guys in, some of that from injury, but they're trying to find the right equation as well. Yeah,
they've actually played 4. And some are in there more to run, some are in there more to throw. So there is a little bit of, it's similar to what it was a week ago. I mean, obviously we didn't know we'd see so much of number 4 a week ago. But there is a little bit of understand who's in there, because that certainly is going to dictate the menu of plays that you're going to see. So our guys are going to have to be aware how it changes, whether it's series by series or down by down.
Coach, your defensive line going into this game, and as you look at them over the last, 5 games or so, it seems like they continue to ascend, and you see guys like DeAndre Johnson getting a sack a game, McLeod another sack and strip and a fumble, and then that old Nesta Silvera, maybe he's been saving his best for last also, but he's been often we call there's Silvera hustling to the play.
Yeah, well, you said the word hustle. I mean, what stands out, jumps off the tape is his effort to the ball. I mean, he always makes some disruptive plays inside the box, and we'll see some here in a minute, but when the ball gets out of the stack and he wants to be the first guy there, and that's really inspiring for a young defensive lineman. It's not about making a play just in your little 4x4 square that you live in. It's about when the ball goes out, relentless effort, go get it. DeAndre Johnson, Zach McLeod, wow, I mean, we're going to miss those 2 guys. I mean, you want to talk about wishing you had another guy for another year. Of course, Zach, that'd be year number 7, but with Zach just going to defensive end, you really see the light coming on in his ability as a pass rusher over the last 4 or 5 weeks. DeAndre, really the same way. It would be, what a treat if we could have DeAndre for another year, but he's out of eligibility, because both those guys have really turned into the defensive ends that you really need, that coming up with a sack a game almost between, for each guy, and really disrupting quarterbacks.
Well, Coach Zach is tipping towards 8. I think that's the lucky number that you've hit the last 3 years or so on defense, or it's been even longer than that, but he's really developed into that. But another guy that we saw a lot of last week was Gilbert Frierson, and it was nice to see him have a big game.
Yeah, Gilbert's been steady for us all year, played really well, like you mentioned, on Saturday. When you have guys like Gilbert and Amari, they're both playing the same spot all year and both really playing very well, both very intelligent players. And putting Amari back at safety, you can do that because you have a Gilbert and a guy like Chase Smith. And what a great experience for Chase Smith to have two just like steady as a rock seniors to mentor him. And Chase got in there and made some good plays as well.
I saw these numbers today inside the ACC. There are 8 teams that are either 6-5 or 5-6. So kind of a two-part question, just a conversation. And I also saw this: if Miami wins on Saturday, you'll be 12-5 in the ACC in the last 2 years. That's behind Clemson, who's 14-3. How does one get a little more separation inside this conference where everybody seems to be jumbled up? You're kind of trending in that direction, but how do you create more separation?
Well, number one, we should recognize the conference is very competitive, and we should respect the league that we play in. I mean, these are good football teams. I think we saw it on display. If you watch, if you saw Pitt and Virginia going back and forth, and Armstrong and Pickett, these are two big time guys that, in my mind, and the experience that I've had in the ACC, we haven't had guys like this come through. This year has been, you look at the quarterbacks just in our division this year: Armstrong, Pickett. And I'm talking about Sam Howell at North Carolina. You look at the other side. I'm sorry,
Cunningham.
You got Cunningham at Louisville. It's like a Lamar Jackson Jr. last week. And Sam Hartman at Wake Forest is transcending their season there. There's Leary at NC State throws for 300 yards seems like every week as well. So big time quarterbacks is going to raise the level of competitiveness, because if you have a quarterback like us, if you can score, you can be in every game. That's just the true matter of it. And then you've got like in our side, you've got really good defensive coaches like Pat Narduzzi at Pitt and Bronco Mendenhall. But you got guys that have great defensive minds that are having a hard time trying to figure out how to slow down these great quarterbacks. So highly competitive league. In our mind, we feel like we have to continue to keep recruiting. I think our young players are learning what it takes to win a game. We look back at the 3 heartbreakers in our league that we've dropped, and the things that have gotten us in those 3 games. Sometimes there's a process on how do you learn how to win, and you see the distinct differences between the games we've won and the games we haven't. I think it's been a great experience for our guys that will return, and will have had some success in this conference. But I think more importantly, just that drive now to take into the offseason how to go make a run at it next year.
I was just say, I saw this number. You mentioned Bronco Mendenhall, and this obviously your coach should not have shot at him, just to show you how hard it is to defend. I think in the last 4 games they've given up 1,500 yards of defense, and he is a really good defensive mind.
He has an outstanding defensive staff. He's a great defense, and that's my point. I mean, if you look at that game, which is again should be a showcase game in our league, and it is. I mean, these are 2 great football teams. But fellas, look at college football. I mean, you look at whether it's in the college football playoff the last few years. When you get around great quarterbacks and great offenses, and I don't care who's been playing in the championship game, everybody's scoring 45 points in the college football playoff championship game. That's just what it is, and that's what happens when you get to this level where you're really, and it's like us on offense. I mean, when we execute and we don't turn the ball over, we're hard to hold under 30 points. We just are, and that's why college football now is a 30-point scoring game. It's about getting to 30 to give yourself a chance to win. And whether you look at Alabama, Arkansas last week, it's around the country right now. The SEC championship game last year was 50-something to 40-something. It's the world that we live in. So we respect our league. We've learned a lot about it this year. I think our young guys have had a great experience that they can take going forward.
Coach Lou Headley, let's not forget him. Our punter dropped 2 inside the 20 last week. And where is he? Can he come back? Is he leaving? He went out for senior day, of course, but yeah. I think he's been one of the most consistent weapons on this football team.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Lou does have the ability to come back, and I do think that is an option he's still considering. He wanted to do senior day just because, we had some guys that did senior day last year. So Zach McCloud joked last week this is his 3rd senior day.
I was going to say 3 for Zach.
Right. So, but Lou has been. You got to think back at the steps of building a program, and to think back at what our punting was before Lou got here.
That's right.
And Lou changed us. No different than Jose Borregales changed us, because our special teams had really been an issue, and what went from being such a net negative back in 2018 has really turned into such a positive in the 3 years since. So really thankful for what Lou's done. We want what's best for Lou, and if that means coming back to Miami, we'd be tickled to have him back. And if that means taking on the NFL, we'll be behind him all the way.
Well, we'll wrap this this segment up with you got Duke on Saturday. Best of luck, a win. It's 5 out of the last 6, so it's a nice way to finish things up.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think again, I think our guys they enjoy playing. I think this team enjoys the camaraderie. It's a Thanksgiving week. It's a week where you want to be thankful for who you get to come to work with every day. I think we are. And I think as a staff and as a squad, I think what we've been through this year has really brought this team close together. I think the proof is in the pudding. You just watch us play, and it looks like a team that enjoys playing for each other. And we have one more regular season opportunity to do that. And if we do that, they'll tell us where we get to go for a bowl, and wherever they send us, we'll be very excited to go there.
Okay, we'll continue on the show. Miami and Duke coming up on Saturday. More on the show right after this.
With UHealth Virtual Clinics, you can see our experts in every specialty wherever you are.
University of Miami health system providers are available here for all your healthcare needs.
All you need is a phone or tablet to schedule a virtual visit with us.
See a UHealth provider virtually today or at a time that's convenient for you.
Visit umiamihealth.org/virtual clinics or call 305-243-4000.
Thanks, Road Warrior.
So long, happy little blue car.
No matter what you call your car,
Goodbye, Speed Demon.
or why you're letting it go, AutoNation will buy it, and you don't have to buy one from us. We're paying top dollar right now. So go to AutoNation.com or come see us for a super easy appraisal. Get paid on the spot, and you can deposit it the same day. Visit any AutoNation store or AutoNation.com. What drives you drives us.
University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute. Experts treat athletes of all levels, elite pros, active adults, and youth athletes. Recover your game. Visit uhealthsportsmedicine.com.
It's now time for the breakdown segment with our head coach, Manny Diaz. And Coach, got a little highlight film for us today.
Yeah, if it was senior night, I figured we might as well highlight our seniors because different guys, different positions, made so many plays to help us win, and really start with our first play on offense. And if you look here, we mentioned every week, but Charleston Rambo makes you make a decision on defense. And, we line up with a couple guys in here in a tight formation, so he's really out here alone, one-on-one. So you got to decide: are you going to bring a safety over the top, to help, or are you going to, let it be in their one-on-one? And they put their safety in the middle of the field, but that's their best corner, so they feel good about that matchup. And immediately we go right into attack mode. And look at the confidence that Tyler Van Dyke has to let that ball rip. I mean, even before right now, you see where Rambo's positioning is.
He's not even looking, right?
Yeah, he knows, but he knows the ball is going to be there. And the ball placement, phenomenal, right through the back of the headgear. But we've seen Rambo make this catch. I'm going to show you the end zone. We've seen Rambo make this catch. Great protection, by the offensive line. But how many times have we seen, Charleston make these type of catches? Wow, against pretty good coverage. That's high level of execution. And that sends a statement right off the bat. This guy's a real guy, and it affects the defense.
And Coach, that's not a fluke catch, like you said. He's done it many, many times this year.
I feel like we see that once. We feel like we see that once a week. He made another big one later. Defensively, and again, I'm going to highlight another senior, and this is Jade Silvera, who is inside is tough and is disruptive, and got a little bit of a stunt game going on here. He's going to move in and play in on the center, and just watch what he does from disruption. This is going to be one of the few times they actually hand the ball to a running back inside, and just watch the physicality and how he knocks. The center tries to block, and watch how he knocks the center.
Well, he's 5 yards in the backfield. 4
or 5 yards deep in the backfield. So when the running back gets the ball, all of his cutback options are taken out. But then he's got the ability to. Corey Couch does a nice job setting an edge right here. Then he's got the ability to shed and finish the play in the backfield for a tackle for loss. That's really, really high level defensive line stuff. But it all just comes back to great hand placement. He's got his hands on the inside, able to create power drives. Jade's a really powerful guy.
Coach Simpson has made a huge impact on the defensive line again this year.
I think you can see it, and I think it shows in the way that we play the run, and I think that's why Virginia Tech didn't want to hand the ball off to the running back too many times. And now we talk about pass rush, and this is Zach McLeod. This is a huge play in the game. It's pouring down rain. This is going to be the strip sack, and the first thing he's got to do is he's got the couple of running backs on the side. He's got to widen out. He's got to play quarterback run game. And then once that clears out, now they're in a max protection. They got a couple of guys designed to block him. And this is where his athleticism, his relentlessness, you watch him turn the corner. But see, a lot of guys can get here, and on a wet field, they would slip and they'd fall. But Zach can turn, finish, bend, and then the added, sort of special play. Watch the outside. See how the outside arm, when you bring your outside arm around, that actually closes your hips, which helps secure the tackle. And it whacks down the football, which gets the ball out. Marcus Clark, Johnny on the spot, in there to recover. Huge play in the game.
Coach, everybody talks about technique on the line of scrimmage, whether it's offense or defense, but maybe the best part of being a great football player is the effort, and that is something that Zach puts forth every single snap.
You're going to have a hard time finding someone that out-efforts Zach. But to see a guy like that make plays like this in this game, and that's what you want to see. You want to see the seniors enjoying their last night out there. And then on the other end, you worry about Zach on one end. Here comes DeAndre Johnson on the other side. And again, a guy who's improving and getting better and better every week. Different type of pass protection. They're going to pull a guard, try to block him, and they got the running back to try to maybe help. And just, again, see the same thing. Watch just the quickness, and then he's able to duck the shoulder. See how he just drops the shoulder under the pulling guard and draws a holding penalty right there. He's kind of getting strangled, but he's still relentless, powers through, and is able to make the finish on the quarterback. So again, another senior, even though DeAndre is a transfer like Charleston, he's a hometown kid. He's a Miami guy. He's one of us. And great to see him finish his last game in Hard Rock in front of friends and family with a big-time sack. And then one of the most rewarding senior plays of the night. Here's our guy, Mike Harley.
There you go.
And Virginia Tech, they're disguising their coverage. And again, you got to give credit to Tyler. He's got to read a coverage. They're showing a tilt. Like this guy's deep and this guy's going to go down. And then what they're going to do at the last minute, they're going to play a cover 2 and a Tampa 2 you've heard of, where the middle linebacker sort of runs the middle seam. But the credit, again, really goes to the offensive line, because, that makes sense, but Tyler's able to buy time, and obviously that's a race that no middle linebacker is going to win on Mike Harley. And then this safety kind of stops his, ascent of getting deep in his half, and look at Mike just run. He is just blazing.
Coach, we talk arm strength, and my math, I'm sure I'm pretty close. That's 55 in the air, yards in the air, with a wet football. That's pretty impressive.
From the 35, so that's 15 to there, and it lands at the 10? So 55 right on the dot, and a little bit sideways too. And as you mentioned, hitting him right in stride. Mike secures it. Really the play that put us up by 2 touchdowns. Just a massive play in the game. What a great memory, for, again, a guy right there. That's the whole point, just last game at the Rock, and fun to see a guy like this, Mike. But watch, great job of guys, strong in protection. Jared Williams really grinding out here, and Tyler can get the ball out before the late linebacker on the delayed blitz comes. Boom, look at that throw. Isn't that cool?
We can watch that 10 more times.
Yep. Well, but we got to watch these last 2, because you're going to love this. Look at the pouring down rain in the confines of Hard Rock Stadium. And this is the last 2 plays. It's third down, and it's a weird situation, because look where the ball is. It's not it's a little tight to punt. You're too far to kick a field goal. The conditions are bad, for kicking anyway. You want to convert, man. And I want to highlight again 2 other seniors, Navon Donaldson and Jared Williams. We got to get a yard here, and Thad Franklin, is in there to get the tough yards. We got another senior, Michael Parrott, right here, who's playing fullback for us. And watch what Navon does. Look at the hole between Navon and Jakai that he's able to open up right here. Jared Williams does a nice job right here, kicking his guy wide along with Scaife, so we create separation in a defense, and that's it. And Thad's got to be patient. He's able to hit it right in there. Navon doesn't let any of his guys, Navon and Zion, don't let any of their guys come through. And a big yard right there, which was big, because now we're able to run more time off the clock, which was massive for us in that situation.
He's still not down.
No, he's still not down. And then now watch your guys, watch Jared and Navon finish at the end and knock them forward. And that's how you take someone's will, because now look where we're at now, 126. We've used up Virginia Tech's timeouts. But it's still a weird situation. You'd really rather, it is coming down as hard right now. A field goal makes it 15, which still, in theory, 2 touchdowns with a 2-point conversion can tie the game up. but it's a difficult, this part of the field was probably the most difficult part of the field. You're not going to feel great kicking right there. You could potentially get a kick block. So can we convert, and again, watch the blocks right here. Watch Jared Williams over here on this side, take his guy and just drive, lock on his guy, drive him all the way down the field. Navon, the same thing. Navon back here working with Jakai again. Starts on the interior guy. They're trying to cross his face on a stunt. Jakai does a nice job picking up Navon. Then he goes to the linebacker. Parrott, solid block. Bang, right there on the backside. And there you can see it. And Thad just trusts his hole. That's it right there. This is an extra guy that they have that we can't block. I mean, they're selling the farm right here, right? That's all they got. And that's what you want to see as an offensive lineman. Guys, look at Scaife. Guys finishing their blocks all the way down the field. Jared hasn't come off his guy yet. And that's 10 yards. And that was it. And after that, after we secured this, we could take a knee and win the football game.
And that is fun for offensive linemen in that situation.
Don, you got everything. You're in the mud. You know what I mean? You run the football. I mean, that's old-time football, right? I mean, that's what it's all about.
A little old school. All right, that does it for our breakdown segment with head coach Manny Diaz. Thank you, Coach.
If you train like a pro, then you should be treated like a pro. Much like the human body, our team of sports medicine experts moves as one to achieve a singular goal. Recover your game.
Hey, it's the Good Greek Spiro, and we all know that the most important part of winning a championship is getting there. And when the Miami Hurricanes need to get their equipment to each game, they call Good Greek Moving and Storage. The Miami Hurricanes trust the Good Greek, and so should you. So move like a champ and go to goodgreek.com. Good Greek Moving and Storage, the official movers of the Miami Hurricanes.
Good Greek Moving and Storage, your superhero movers.
Time now for the joint chiropractic adjustment of the game. How about this one? Tyler Van Dyke retreating in the pocket and then lets it rip. Mike Harley right on the money. For a Miami Hurricanes touchdown and a big smile for Mike Harley. Harley gets the touchdown catch in his last home game at Hard Rock Stadium, gets loose behind Hollifield. Nobody there. Heavenly throw. That is the joint chiropractic adjustment of the game. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Joe Zagacki, Don Bailey Jr., and our podcaster, Josh Darrow, also our sideline reporter.
You switched my roles.
As we get ready for Miami and Duke on Thanksgiving weekend, Hurricanes can finish this thing out pretty strong. I think it's sneaking up on people. They were close to running the table. If they win this one, it'll be 5 out of 6. They'll finish with a 5-1 record over the last 6.
Joe, and I see them doing that. What I saw last week against Virginia Tech was a team that had a lot of energy, a team that was highly focused. They made huge plays in an environment that did not assume that they would make them, right? That quarterback, Van Dyke, had a great day with a wet football. They didn't run the football. Jalen Knight didn't run it as much as you thought he would, but they had an answer for that as well. They put in Franklin. But overall, a very, very good day.
Yeah, really good day. And look, I think Manny said it's still looking for the best game, but we've certainly seen under Tyler Van Dyke, they've gotten off to better starts. They have found like their identity on offense, which is move the ball down, throw the ball down the field, find Charleston Rambo. Will Mallory has made a comeback. And defensively, in the beginning of the third quarter, there was a little bit of a bumpy road. Really, it was only the quarterback run game and a couple of crazy catches. I mean, they made some ridiculous catches. Even like my kids were like, that ball hit the ground, right, Dad? You know, like what? I mean, they had a couple of just 5 or 6 plays on a hand, you know. But really, Miami, except for one little period, they really controlled the game.
As they go into this game, if you look back at Van Dyke, and again now it's 5 straight games of 300 yards or more passing, 3 touchdowns a game. You look at Van Dyke, the criticism at the very beginning, if there was criticism, was slow start. And they solved that with pass-heavy attack to start the game. Now, Florida State, you can throw that back at me, got foiled in the first quarter. But this has been a really aggressive offense here for the last month or so of the season. You know, I get a kick out of people always saying if a team starts slow,
there are 11 guys on the other side that have studied you, and there are 11 guys on the other side that are going to stop you. To me, it's about how you play the entire game. 4 drives for Miami last week against Virginia Tech, 4 touchdowns. That's a way to start. They were able to do it through the air. They did it on the ground. The important thing is they did protect Van Dyke, and he is getting better every single week. You see another little dimension come into his game, a little more confidence, and his ability. We counted up a 55-yard touchdown pass to Mike Harley with a wet, slippery football, and he looked like he had another 20 yards of juice in that ball.
Well, I'll make this pretty simple for everybody. Do we think the Tyler Van Dyke we've seen for the last 5 games, if that's the one that started against Virginia, how do we think that game goes?
Would not have come down to a field goal.
That's a very
do we really think the guy that's playing now, remember that was his first start, or first Power 5 start,
right?
And that game had implications. Do we think the guy that's put up the numbers the last 5 games in a game that was a field goal doink away from winning, do we not think that guy leads Miami to a victory at home?
And Josh, take it to the North Carolina game. If he had to deal with that again on a final drive, look at the difference as him today than just a month ago.
I see it.
Really
I think,
point,
we talk about circumstance. This season is not a season that's just sort of linear in its observations, right? There have been so many things and circumstances that have happened to get to the team to where they have played really since that point. But he's a totally different quarterback. He's the guy you march out right now, and you really don't have any questions.
This is the game you can't fall asleep on. This game is the last game of the year. Would allow this team to feel good going into a bowl game. Duke has really struggled. They've lost 7 in a row, have not won a conference game since they beat Miami in 2019. They've got a really nice running back, but this really, to me, is just a game of focus and energy for Miami. Nobody's going to be in the stadium, so you just have to take care of Miami.
Duke's selling point is we can save our season. We can hurt Miami, we can save our season. We've beat them before. I don't see it happening. I saw too much energy last week. I saw a senior class that is playing as hard as they can play. I see a group of freshmen and sophomores that realize how bright the future is at the University of Miami. And we've got a quarterback that can assault any secondary in the country. I think it bodes well for Miami.
I can't recall all of the numbers because there's too many, but if you just look at what the opponents have done to Duke the last 7 weeks, it's 48, 55, 45. To me, again, based on what Don just said and looking at what we've seen from Tyler, and just put it on the offense, right? Just seeing what the offense has been able to do against tougher defenses and what other teams have done to that Duke defense, you're thinking he has a field day.
Okay, when we come back, we'll have the keys to the game. Miami and Duke, the keys to the game, when we continue right after this.
With UHealth Virtual Clinics, you can see our experts in every specialty wherever you are.
University of Miami health system providers are available here for all your healthcare needs.
All you need is a phone or tablet to schedule a virtual visit with us.
See a UHealth provider virtually today or at a time that's convenient for you.
Visit umiamihealth.org/virtual clinics or call 305-243-4000.
Thanks, Road Warrior.
So long, happy little blue car.
No matter what you call your car,
Goodbye, Speed Demon.
or why you're letting it go, AutoNation will buy it, and you don't have to buy one from us. We're paying top dollar right now. So go to AutoNation.com or come see us for a super easy appraisal. Get paid on the spot, and you can deposit it the same day. Visit any AutoNation store or AutoNation.com. What drives you drives us.
The keys of the game are brought to you by AutoNation. No matter how long you've had your car or why you're letting it go, AutoNation will buy it, and you don't have to buy one from us. We'll give you a top dollar offer and check on the spot. You can deposit right away. Appraise your car today at AutoNation.com. Back on the show, Joe Zagacki, Don Bailey Jr., Josh Darrow, a soggy Josh Darrow, still trying to dry out from last week's sideline work against Virginia Tech. Okay, Miami goes to Wallace Wade Stadium to take on the Duke Blue Devils. We'll take a look at the keys to the game for this one, as Duke has lost 7 games in a row. Miami trying to make it 5 out of 6 to wrap up the season. For Miami, number 1, red zone offense. Duke defensively, they always try to squeeze you in the red zone with their defense. Heavy blitz in the red zone take the ball away. Everybody else has. Duke has turned the ball over 20 times, and then finish the season strong. Go in there with one purpose. Finish the season strong. Miami in the red zone the last couple of weeks have been really good. Over almost 70% scoring touchdowns in the last 2 to 3 weeks.
So two names that come to mind for me, Miami in the red zone, is Thad Franklin. We saw what he did in the red zone, or in tough yardage situations, I should say. And then Will Mallory, Josh. When you look at how he is, the problem that he presents size-wise, and how sure-handed he's become the last half of the year.
I thought you were going to go with that guy dressed as number 82 last week.
Yeah, that's my boy now. That's right. You're right. I'm glad you picked up on that.
The big old Justice was playing tight end. I thought, because they get that heavy package, you know. Now you got Mallory, you got the freshman tight end, you got him. They moved some people in there. And I winked at Garen after the game. I go, we got a pass play in there somewhere? He goes, he's a pretty good athlete.
Mallory, 17 catches, 4 touchdowns in his last 5 games.
He's been a great story. A great story.
Yeah. Miami's red zone, 12 touchdowns in the last 18 trips, so that's an improvement. Take the ball away. Duke last year, they were awful protecting the football. There was a real emphasis for them this year, but that's jackknifed on them. They've turned it over 20 times. Got to take the ball away in this game.
Well, Miami needs to do that. That's something that has hurt this Miami team, is not getting enough takeaways. They're upside down in that category, and that was something that this offense is built on. If it's there, please take it. Somebody said 60 points. You'd like to put 60 on Duke? I'm all for it. Let's just get it done. But it would help the cause, and it's something that you gain momentum with, and you can really put Duke to sleep if you can get a few takeaways.
The other thing, too, with the turnover chain, I know some people have had their say about it, but you have, with all these young guys, they don't know any different. It's all new to them. Marcus Clark puts the chain on, when James Williams put the chain on, Tyreek Stevenson put the... For them, it was fun. It's still, I'm telling you, I'm on the sideline. I see it. Now when everyone runs off the field to celebrate, they are there to wait, put it over the neck, and do the whole sideline brigade. They love it. Still, they love it, I promise.
I think seasons are about momentum. How you finish, I think, is important. Miami has an opportunity to win 5 of their last 6. Of course, be within a hair's breadth of making it 6 out of 6, but finish strong. So finish strong requires everybody's attention to detail, and keep playing as hard as they've been playing.
And Joe, you bring up a great point about finishing strong and momentum, because there is a game after the Duke game. Miami is going to a bowl game, and some way or fashion, some of the shine has rubbed off of the bowl games. Except you talk to Mike Harley, and he said immediately, I'm playing in the bowl game. I like that commitment. That tells me also that he's going to inspire this football team on Saturday to play extremely hard.
Well, I'll say this. The one thing with almost absolute certainty about this team, they have never given up, never stopped, never quit, always fight. So in terms of finishing strong, if the one thing I have no doubt about is, I have no doubt about that they'll show up, they'll play hard, they'll play tough, they'll play for each other, they'll play for their coach, and they will do everything in their power to finish the season strong.
Okay, Miami and Duke on Saturday at 12:30. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. For Don Bailey Jr., Josh Darrow, and head coach Manny Diaz, I'm Joe Ziacki. We'll see you next time.